I'm Raj Asrieeth. I spent my childhood in Mysore, Karnataka, and I joined FIITJEE after like learned of their BB Big Bang Edge test, and I was like, this is quite relevant for JEE, so I gave it casually, and I got a pretty good score in it. So I thought like I can continue with FIITJEE because I got a scholarship, so like producing good results, so I could join them, and I joined them. That's all. Big Bang Edge test I gave it in 10th, and I joined the 2-year course. Yeah, that's all. From South Delhi. Like they switched to a new interface in the middle of our year, like in middle of 11th, they switched to Glorifier, and the test window there was like really beneficial. It used to give me a good analysis, and uh, and it used to tell me where my weaknesses were, where I could improve, and what was going wrong in my preparation. So it was like a feedback loop, feedback cycle, right? So I knew where my mistakes were, and so I could correct them. So in that way, I could use my time effectively, and that's how I prepared. In the final phases, I found the GMP very effective because they even had theory as well as the important problems, like the problems which had a lot of traps in them, which were more relevant for JEE Advanced. So I could find all of them in one book, so which was really useful. So I just strictly referred to GMP in my last few days of revision, and that really was useful because I could clearly, I was like at the final stage, I was able to say that no chapter of mine is weak. जो भी आएगा कर सकता हूँ. So I was at this level, and I'll have to thank the study material for that. Recorded lectures were useful if I really missed on something and if I wanted to revisit something which after even trying hard, like after solving problems and after working out some assignments, even after that, if I was thinking they were weak, then I could, go back to the lectures and see them because they were explained the same way as I would have heard them if I was in a classroom. So that was really helpful if I was, wanting to relearn a concept completely from the fundamentals. Really wonderful in that it had a lot this it was really elaborate. It was one test if you could give. I mean, I've heard from people that if you give one test you'll have to analyze it thoroughly. So what I found useful was that the analysis part was done, like most of the analysis was done by the system itself, and so I could really not have to waste time, in rewriting those questions which I attempted incorrectly and all that. It was already like separated out and like given to me at the end of the test in the concept. So if I was seeing a certain concept, I could know that in a certain test I solved these questions incorrectly from that particular concept. So this was like a really elaborate system. That's what I found really useful. I really found the study material and the way it's structured very useful. And I found the test engine very useful because the way it's built, and really hats off to the software development team for that. And the teachers were also quite good. They were covering the syllabus thoroughly and on time, which was the system was perfect. So if a system is good enough, that's how it produces results, right? So yeah, it was good enough. First, at least our teachers, they would first give us certain synopsis of what we are going to study in the first class relevant to that particular chapter. And after the synopsis, they would leave us on our own to, work out on which, like, play with the chapters a little bit, like explore it to our interests. And then they would really start with the syllabus, like what is relevant for JEE and all that. So in this procedure, I found it really interesting because I would be open, to that chapter even before the course is started. So this, as they repeated for a number of chapters, this was really reinforcing my concepts, right, really well. 11th and 12th, I really heard a lot of people saying you have to join from 6th, from 8th, from 10th. I really don't feel that much is relevant from, but what is important is you must have an inquisitive mind. You must really be open to exploring all your ideas, all the concepts that is related to science and math. I was more of a physics and math guy, so I really was interested in calculus and math from a really young age. So, but the coaching part, which is more relevant from your 11th and 12th, because these 2 years are, you can dedicate them to your entrance exams, college and stuff. But you'll have to live your life till 10th. That's my